Hello, welcome all. Interview you stories, and that is right. It is not you stories, anything having to do with YouTube. It is your stories. That's right. That's just how my brain works, and that's how it goes. And it is a rainy Wednesday in New York, and I have a fantastic guest. Oh my goodness, Razor is going to be stopping in a little bit later. We have Gemma, Autism in its Finest. Hey, Gem, Wrestler Mania, what is up? How are you? In fact, Wrestler Mania, I was just thinking about you earlier today and earlier in the week. I have to film some footage for you soon. I have not forgotten, and we will talk about that later, but I was thinking of you otherwise. Ammo, how are you? Everybody, we are having a wonderful day today because we have a wonderful guest with us tonight who actually said he would be a guest long before I actually ever got on air with this show. Quickly, I will tell you, what is it? I believe, yes, Monday on the 15th. Don't forget that we are going to have You Stories, Beauty and the Bees with my co-host Mama Styles, and our guest will be Kimberly Harrod. But other than that, my announcements are short today because I want to get to our guest because he is on the other side of the world for me right now. This guest is someone that I met very early on when I got onto YouTube, and was a very friendly, nice person, everything like that. And when I came up with the interview you stories concept, was one of the first people who said that he would be on. And he was very, very busy and had a lot of things to do with school and whatnot. You're going to find out about it. You're going to find out about the title and everything else. And you know me, I don't do clickbait. We're going to talk about all kinds of things. And filming and whatnot and all kinds of cool things. But I am excited because he said, he had school and he had to take care of that. And then he came and I knew he would come back, and he came back and we talked back and forth. And he finally said, I am free. I can come on October 8th. And I snatched it up because I love it. I knew he was going to come back. And so here he is, my fantastic guest who is in Scotland at this time. We have Mario from MFN Productions. Hello, Mario. How are you? I'm so happy to have you.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Borgia. I'm really happy as well to be here. Finally, yes, it was actually a while because I was actually thinking already for a while to be in your show, but the time was sometimes really difficult. And this week I just decided to take holidays, and I was like, well, it will be that week definitely because all this week I will be on holidays. So
that is fantastic. Thank you so much because, gosh, what was that? I did my first live show, Lady Borgia Live, I think it was in March. And then I came up with the idea for the show, and you actually signed on to be on the show when it was in pre-production before I ever did one. I was just setting it up and working the details, like how to do this. And here you are. I kept telling people, I said, he's coming. Mario is coming. He will come. Watch me. Mark my words. He will be here. And that is true. So,
that's
guys.
right, yeah. That's right, yeah. Because I said, well, when I promise something, I always do, even if it can take like few weeks, months, but I never miss one promise.
Yes, but see, I know that about you, and that's what I said to everybody. And I love a person of their word. I think that is fantastic. So this is why I had to make a big deal about it in the beginning. He told me this months ago through schooling, through whatnot, through summer, through everything, like way back in March. And we have made it here. And so thumbs up for a man of his word. And by the way, guys, I'm going to tell you, obviously, MFN Productions. He does filmmaking, documentaries, all kinds of things. Hey, Jacqueline Robles, how are you? Angel Muniz. So if you have any questions, start formulating them. And by the way, his information is down in the description box. As always, there is not a schedule tonight. Normally there is. I'm sorry, I had a little bit of technical difficulties earlier, so I had to recreate the event. I will put it up for Monday's show with Beauty and the Bees, all things makeup galore. Anyway, so we're going to start talking with Mario, and we will get to the title about the dogs and what that really is about, a documentary that has that in there, and you guys are definitely not going to want to miss it. I watched it months and months ago, and it's fantastic. Julie, what is up? How are you? So glad to see you. So, Mario, we'll start off just with a question, and then we're going to go backwards a little bit. How did you get into filmmaking, and where did MFN Productions come from?
Good question.
Big question. I just,
Yes.
Bam, that was a big one.
Yes. Well, I start with filmmaking, I can say that when I was 9 years old. With 9-year-old, I got my...
This works perfectly, because I was going to ask you about your childhood later too, so that works perfectly. Go ahead.
So when I was 9-year-old, my parents, they got a camera. In that time, basically, it was me that was using most of the time. So not just filming like family stuff. After I just start using it like with my friends, and we start creating like amateur films. So basically, from that time, I knew that I was with that passion to do some filming and to be in front of the cameras, to be behind the cameras. So that's the way it started.
Did you get, because I got my very first camera. I begged and begged and begged for my own camera. My father was very much into photography, and so was my uncle. But it was just like a little snapshot camera. What was your first camera?
It was a Sony. You know, that the big ones that they were like with a VI8 or the small tapes, the VI or the HI8.
Yeah, the high 8. Yes,
yes,
I do. I remember that. All right, so you had a video camera.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I begged for one of those so much.
That basically, I have one here. Well, it is like a small one that I used sometimes to do some like copying some tapes if someone asked me because I sometimes I do few edits, and usually if someone asks me to transfer from the old tapes to DVD or to USB, I just do it.
Oh, that's really cool to have, because I did finally get one of those with the high 8s. I did finally get my hands on one of those, a little, not at 9, but later on, and I have a bunch of them, but no way to watch them. So that is a really cool thing to have.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's really handy, because sometimes, even sometimes you are going into the attic and you can see like some old tapes, and it's like, oh, let me see what is on it.
Yes.
And you just get surprised, and it's just like, wow. I have loads of like tapes here, because my uncle, he was with 20 tapes in the house, and I was like, I'm going to take them and I need to watch them. I was watching some of them, and I was watching in 1994 when I was 11-year-old. I was like, whoa, I can't believe that I was looking to myself when I was 11. I was like, oh my God, just crazy.
That is so cool. And it's so funny that you say in the attic, because that's exactly where mine are. And I opened a big box, and there they are. And because I have a walk-up attic, I have an older house. It's just like that. You just painted the picture. And I know some of them are labeled, but it's not the same as getting to go back and see them. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye out to get my hands on one of those. So because I never thought of having one of those and using it to transfer it. So thank you. You just gave me a fantastic idea.
It's really handy, and they now they are not expensive. Well, I got this one actually for 30 pounds, I believe.
Oh,
30
that's not,
pounds.
yeah, that's not bad.
Like for this one that I have here is a Sony. I have it here. I can show you.
Yeah, because that's what I had. I had a Sony, let's
Here,
see.
you see? That is
Yeah, that's the Sony Handycam. That's the one I had. In fact, I might, you know what? I might have it in a box somewhere, but you know what? If I do still have it, my problem, I think, was trying to find a way to charge it or something like that. I'm not sure. It might be in the house in a box. If I do still have it, or if somebody who's watching still has one and they have all the tapes, is it easy to get batteries for them or chargers or however? I don't even remember how we did it then. Oh
well,
yeah, it was that big battery. That big
it's the
battery went on
big
the back.
batteries. Yeah, even like for example, if you will be just using it for connected to the computer, you just need to connect just straight away, like plug into the power. That's it. You don't need to use battery because I'm not using battery, to be honest.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to check into that then. So I don't need to have the big battery. You can just plug it into the computer and
Yeah, you need to be powered. You don't need to have battery. If you have the adapter that can be connected, so that is enough.
oh, that's awesome. We were 15 minutes in and I already learned something fantastic. I'm gonna have to go back and look and see. I can't remember if I got rid of it or if I held on to it or whatnot. I think I might have thought at the time that, oh, what can I do with it now? But now I'm kind of crossing my fingers because if I do and I can just plug it into the computer to power it, then we have a go for watching all those high. Yeah, because I have the tapes
The
from,
tapes, yeah.
oh my gosh, Christmases, because I was always filming everything, but I didn't know how to edit anything until
It's
December,
really
which
easy,
was
yeah,
really
and
weird.
because after you just only need to get the capturing video that is an adapter that goes into the USB, and that is with the two RCAs. Well, no, three RCAs. That is the yellow, that is the video, the red, and the white that is for the sound. So
Yep.
basically, we'll just capture everything because it comes with a software that basically will just capture everything, and it's awesome.
Oh wow. I'm so excited now. I have to go digging around after this. I may have found a way how to gain access to all of that again, and that would be fantastic. Hey, Nellie Beauty Joy, how are you? And Ashley and everyone. Thank you so much for coming. So you got started at 9 years old. Let's go back a little bit. Where were you born and where did you grow up, Mario?
I born in Lisbon, Portugal. So there was where I born, and I was living there until when I was 26 years old. So after that, I moved to Scotland, and I'm here since then.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, how did you end up going from Portugal to Scotland?
It was an adventure, to be honest, um,
Dude, I
because
love
one of
adventures.
because one of my best friends that I knew already for we knew each other for 27 years, 28 years.
Wow.
He was here already for 5. So that was one of the reasons that made me come to Scotland, because when he went to Portugal on holidays during the summertime, I was already telling him, well, I'm probably going this year or next year to London, and I will
Right.
be just like start something there. And he said, well, why not coming to Scotland, because at least you have someone that you know.
Right.
And after, if you will see, okay, I don't like Scotland, I just want to go to London.
Right.
But after,
But yeah, it's nice to have, it is nice to have somebody you know and somebody that knows, the area a little bit to help you out.
oh yeah, definitely. So that's I'm here since then. And it was here when basically start MFN Productions. That is basically my name, Mario Filipe Neves.
Yes, that I know, but I wanted to actually I knew you were born and everything else like that, but that's okay. That is why I ask it so everybody else knows. So when did you create MFM Productions? When did it go from starting with the Sony Handycam, which that was my first camera too, actually, going from that and then ending up with MFN Productions?
Well, that is actually has some story behind, because when I was involved with a camera, when I was 9 year old, when I was like 17, 16, 17, I start doing some castings, and I was doing some TV series in Portugal as an actor. So I was just like in some telenovelas, some short films.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like few small things that I got involved. But and I start looking into the magic that was happening behind the cameras when I could hear like all the directors just like when action and everything you can see, like what is behind the camera, like who is behind the camera, what they are doing, and that was getting my attention, and I was like, okay, I think so. I like better to be behind the camera than being in
In
front of
front
the
of it.
camera. So that's why when I came to Scotland, I was like, okay, I'm going to start something that I should have done many years ago.
Right.
So I just got a camera, because in that time it was just a small camera that that was something like that, something that nowadays this is more for vlogging, I would say.
Yeah.
But in that time it was just to do like pictures, like the video was not so good, and I just got something like more like a camcorder, and I start doing some filming, like doing some stuff just on my own, and I just start doing more and more and more after that.
That's awesome that you get, that's very interesting that you say that you started out in front of the camera, but also started out as a child, loving filming, because when I was a child, I was always fascinated by my father's cameras. In fact, I have all of his film cameras to this day. They're boxed up and everything like that because it's so expensive to with the film and everything else like that, when you can do so many things easily with digital. But I would like to get into that somewhat once I figure out how to develop it on my own a little less expensively, and I have room for a dark room. But it's interesting that you had that love as a child, and then were in front of the camera and decided you like being behind it much better. Because I was asked as a child, my mother was a model, and her agency asked me at 6 years old, they wanted to sign me. And my mother said to me, they kept asking and asking and asking, "Hey, Razor, what is up? Good to see you. Oh, it's so wonderful to see everybody tonight. You have so many people visiting you." Um, my mother said to me, she said, you can do it, but you know how much work it is. And, there's going to be times you want to play that you're not going to be able to play. You have to work, once you commit to it. And that's when I said, I was like, no, thanks. I'd rather be, I'd rather, play with the camera rather than, being in front of it so much. I haven't gotten to the point, obviously, that you have with filming and editing and everything else like that. That's a lot newer to me, being that I never edited anything until December, and that was just jumping in. People wanted me to make videos from my Instagram photos, and I went, okay, well, I can do this on a phone. Here, I finally said, I gave them a date, and I went, oh gosh, I've never even tried this. Okay, jump right in and figure it out. But it works. So, it was interesting. I just didn't know how to do it with the film cameras and all of that. Um, did you learn to edit back with the Sony Handycams?
With the Sony, yes, I started editing in that time. I can't remember what it was, the software. Pinnacle Studios? Yeah, Pinnacle Studios. It was the software that I was using. And interesting, well, the way I was actually editing, because I couldn't transfer from the computer, because in that time it was not that adapters that I could connect into my VCR,
Right,
the old VCRs. So
right.
basically, I was putting the camera against the just in front of the screen, and I was recording everything what I was basically editing on the computer. So basically, everything was going into the camera. So basically, I was filming once again. It was
Oh,
already edited.
okay.
So it was like a way that I started, and after basically I start learning more about other programs, Adobe Premiere, Final Cut Pro. That is the
Right.
one that I use most, because I love Final Cut Pro, because for me I work and it works like butter.
Yeah, I hear people, that was actually very creative that you fit to edit, you filmed what you filmed. That's pretty creative. I'm not an Apple person, though, so
I'm a big
I've
fan of Apple, so that's why.
yeah, see, that's my thing. I've heard Final Cut Pro is fantastic, and Enzo S2W Themes, he loves to film. He used to work on the Cosby Show and whatnot. He wasn't filming on there, but he worked for them, and he just got his certification to work backstage on Broadway and do all that kind of stuff. I believe you know S2W Themes. You guys know each other. Um I think if you saw him, you recognize him. But I'm sorry, hold on one second. I just had a glitch over here. Everything just shorted for a second. But my problem is Final Cut Pro. I hear it's so wonderful, but I don't have Apple computers, and I'm gonna get a new computer soon, but unfortunately it's gonna be a PC. So, and Adobe Premiere is fantastic, but it is expensive. Oh my lord.
It is. It's like it's really good. The Adobe. I was working with Adobe, but I was not much getting into it. That's why I started using Final Cut already a while ago. I have the Adobe because the company that I work for, they give me access for all the Adobe products.
Oh, that's really
But
nice.
the only software basically that I use is the Photoshop, and is the lighting room,
Right.
lighting room, but not the Adobe Premiere. And as well, sometimes the After Effects, Adobe After Effects, to do some stuff, some creations. But I like just to work with Final Cut, and for me, Final Cut is it's really quick, and do what I want. So that's the thing.
Yeah, I actually use a mixture right now, because I do a lot of editing on my phone still since I haven't gotten my new computer yet. This computer probably could do it, but I'm not gonna spend a lot to put into it. A computer that's a little bit older and just get the new laptop. But it takes me two programs to get all the things I want, because I use what is it, KindMaster, and now I can't remember, of course, because I'm on because I'm talking to you and we're in a live stream, of course I've forgotten. Let me just look really quickly. And Power Director. And I
Power
know,
Director, yeah.
yeah, and the only thing I don't like about Power Director on the phone is they don't have the bookmarking function. So I know I was asking somebody else who uses it online if it has that. Does the Final Cut Pro have the bookmarking function? Because that's something I use a lot.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely, you know, the reason why I like more use Apple, like I'm in this case is an iMac. Um, it's because I really need for the kind of work that I do. Because many times I work, for example, when I was editing my documentary, the documentary it was 270 gigabytes of footage.
Wow.
It was 7 months to edit, to do the color grading and all that, because everything was filmed as a C log. So basically, the colors they are kind of neutral, and they need to get like some color editing and takes ages. Uh, and I was doing on the beginning. I was using one computer when it was the Windows 7, I believe. Yeah, it was in Windows 7,
Mhm.
and was all the time crashing, all the time crashing. And I was like,
Oh
well,
my
I just
gosh.
got enough. And I really needed, I really needed something that more powerful, that could just edit the stuff that I needed, because I was doing some other stuff, that because I have my own clients, that sometimes I do some other stuff externally,
Right.
and you know, you need to deliver like some a good work, otherwise the customer will probably say, okay, don't go for him because it's not good because of this or
Right.
that.
They're gonna think you're an amateur,
Oh yeah,
you
definitely.
don't know what you're doing, and you want it rendered nicely and whatnot. And
Oh yeah, and one of the things that the Razorian Buck is saying, that the Sony Vegas is actually a really nice software. It's definitely a really good software. I was using, and it's really simple and can do a lot of stuff. Really.
really, because
Oh yeah.
I was just about to get to that comment that he made, and that's one that I hadn't heard of. I had not heard of Sony Vegas. I mean, I do want to get Adobe Premiere at some point because I'd like to be able to do a lot more. I probably do not need it at this point for you know, obviously, if you love filming and whatnot, and you have all these big ideas, you want, but I want the big thing to play with everything, you know. But I probably, since I've been existing with KindMaster and Power Director on my phone, I can probably live without it, for a bit longer. I never heard Sony Vegas.
Yeah, I believe that is discontinued. That software, unless you have a copy, or like the
Oh,
because
okay.
now is one that is very similar. But once I was looking for the Sony Vegas and I couldn't find. I still have, because it came with one of the cameras that I got
Right.
a few years ago, and came with a CD that was with the Sony Vegas. So I can say that I still have it, the
Yeah,
old
you still got the
software.
old, yeah, and you've got the why am I forgetting words today? Oh my goodness, I keep having brain stalls, and I used to work in software and licensing with computers. So the media. Hello, yeah, you still have the old media for it. Goodness, you don't know what's happening to my brain today. I'm gonna blame it on the rain and the fact that my blonde hair, even though it needs to be done again. That's pretty cool because I've been looking. WrestleMania says Magix also makes Sony Vegas. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that because one of the things that I did. Oh, let me roll back a little bit. And WrestleMania says, Lady Borgia and MFN Productions. I have a PC and use Magic's Pro video editor. It has all the bells and whistles needed, including multi-camera editing, LUTs, etc. And has an LUTS tutorial. Hey, Alejandra's
Yes.
Adventures, welcome. I don't even know what an LUTS is yet. What is that? I'm a big beginner. I admit it. What is that?
That is just basically a filter that goes
Oh,
into the video. So instead of you do the coloring using like the color board, I would say, just to edit like color by color. That is usually what I do with my videos. I like to do color by color, just giving like, for example, the greens, push a little bit more the greens, or make it like a little bit less, just to make it like pale or more vivid. And Lutz basically will just
okay.
color grading straight away with just one plugin that just go into the
Okay.
video and
Uh-huh.
gives the filter. So it's like you, for example, using when you want to edit your pictures using one or the font, for
Okay.
example,
So
the
because
filter.
I use on my I use Adobe Photoshop Fix on my Note 9 to edit photos because I can do color by color. So
Yes.
when you said that, I'm like, wait, this is sounding like what I do like on Adobe Photoshop Fix because I can go color by color and change the hue, the luminance. So it's basically
Yeah.
what I'm doing. So I already understand what I'm doing. I'm just doing it with pictures.
Kind of. Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's good. I feel better.
Yeah.
I'm like, all
So
right, I'm kind of in there. I'm not a pro by any means, but I have not said it. But
you will get there, because honestly, to be honest, me about editing, I can say that 6 years ago I was an amateur, and I start like 5 years ago,
okay,
and I start learning more into the editing because I was more a person just film, and the editing, I could say that I was just doing like the basic, but I start doing more and more stuff after the documentary. To be honest, it was when I learned more deeply.
well, with that kind of amount of footage and that amount of time, which we're going to get into talking about your documentary in a second, that is a phenomenal amount of footage. I mean, I know last night I just started getting into filming some of my special effects painting, which that's a lot more footage and takes a lot more time, and I'm gonna have some fun
Oh, yeah.
editing that down to, you know, a reasonable bite size and playing with the different speeds and whatnot. And I mean, it's not that I do, it's funny because I learned a lot last night. I filmed them before, but I erased them because I didn't like them. And it's very different because you're filming yourself, and I'm used to painting, you know, leaned back in my chair, holding the mirror, sitting however I want. And I'm having to go, okay, wait, I need to think about the camera angle. I need to think about this. I need to think about that while I'm showing how to do this and do that. So, you know, and thinking in my head, you know, don't let the camera run too long or else you're going to have too much footage and you're going to be bogged down and never get it edited down because it's just going to be too much. So I try to film in clips instead of just pausing. I'll film a clip and then make a lot of little clips. But even with the special effects painting, even if you just show one step could be, you know, 20 minutes long. So I got to, you know, smush it down even further to make it down into like maybe a 10-minute video. So that's my next thing that I'm learning how to do, which
But it's not a bad honestly, if even if you can film continuously, um, it's not bad, because I do that. Uh,
really,
I like to do a lot of, because the reason why I do that is I like to have material to grab. I like to have like a lot of footage, even if I'm just filming.
Right.
for like an hour continuously, but I'm getting stuff. I'm grabbing the picture in that moment, and sometimes the things that can appear suddenly that you will be like, "Whoa, I want that," and because
That's true. That's true too. This is also when I'm filming the special effects characters, these are characters that can take anywhere from 4 to 8 hours to paint, that I had
oh
to
yeah,
condense down into, 10 minutes. So that's why I stop it, because if I were to film, I don't see myself as good enough yet to be able to film 8 hours and condense it into 10 minutes without losing my mind yet. But then again, I am also, an amateur. That's like my next big step I'm taking right now, is learning how to do that. But go ahead. I wanted to hear what you had to say about it.
yeah, no. So basically, just I like to have a lot of footage to just grab. For example, but it depends sometimes as well. Um, what like what type of footage you are doing. It depends as well the size that you will be getting on the SD card, for example,
Right.
because I wouldn't be filming continuously. For example, yesterday when I was filming on an event, the one that it was the Enchanted Forest. I was not filming continuously because I was filming in a 4K, and in a 4K takes a lot. Even in 30 minutes that I have done,
Yeah.
30 minutes of footage, it was 128 gigabytes of just 30 minutes of footage.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I can film in 4K on this. I don't always, but yeah, it takes up a lot.
a lot,
A
yeah.
lot.
So I was just doing like, even I was repeating some of the parts, but I was just doing in a different position, like different perspective. Because after I just like to grab, okay, I want this, I want that, I want that, and I will just, to glue all together and
Hmm.
to create something.
Yeah, because that's what I normally do, is I film in clip, especially some of the stuff, because I also I'm going to get more into vlogging, which is a totally different mindset to me. All the different types of filming in my head are different. I approach it a different way in the way I film it. And I don't know if that's normal or not, but that's just, I guess, the way my mind works. If I'm going to film, like I was talking to you about before we went on, filming some vlog stuff like the train approaching and then catching in New York the flash mob and whatnot, to me in my mind is one type of filming, and whereas filming, let's say, a dramatic eye look where I can put it into steps is another type of filming, whereas special effects that could take somewhere between 4 and 8 hours to do even without filming it, in my mind is yet another way of filming. Is that normal? Do people think that way, or is it, to you just all filming?
No, it's normal.
Oh,
It's
okay, good.
totally normal. No, it's totally normal.
Because I'm going, I don't know if this is, normal people, because I approach it different, for each thing that I'm going to do. And I'm going, okay, that's good to know then I'm on the right track. Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic. Always good to know. I'm sorry, I had to pick his brain a bit, but you guys, if you have any questions, Mario is fantastic to ask. For somebody who was an amateur 5 years ago, he does know a tremendous amount, and there's some wonderful things that you're going to need to check out with him. We're going to go back to more of his stuff and not so many questions about me, but it's also things you guys I know can use on your channels or things that you're filming. I'm just thrilled that I get to film stuff, and I think it's so cool that you can do so much with, say, like this is a Samsung Note 8. It blows my mind the things that you can do with this. And this, I took this, all my equipment was in a little BoxyCharm box, because, by the way, ladies, if you get BoxyCharm, they come, the foam that comes in them, they make excellent tech boxes. So if you have mics or your dead cat or, you know, a little Rode Micro or whatnot, don't buy a case, use this. These are fantastic lightweight tech boxes that protect your equipment. And then I'm going to be getting the Note 9, and it amazes me. I do want to get a better DSLR, but the stuff that you can do with a cell phone is incredible. Have you ever filmed anything like major, or I've heard of people filming documentaries or whatnot with cell phones, or even I heard of a guy who filmed an entire horror movie with the backup camera on a car. Have you seriously?
It's possible, yeah. Well, for example, one of the videos that I have on my channel, that it was one of the Land Rover Velar, when it was launched here in UK. And most of the video was shooting with my drone, but some of them it was used the iPhone.
Okay.
And I was saying, like, to someone that, well, that was recorded with an iPhone, and they couldn't believe, because the way it was actually all together, because when you are editing, you just can manipulate a little bit all the video to look all exactly the same.
Right.
And they couldn't believe, and I said, you see, it because has a really great quality, like the smartphones nowadays, like the Samsungs, the iPhone, because I have one Samsung that the quality is amazing. So yeah, you can do great footage.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, Mama Style says she says team film on cell phone, currently film on an she just got an S9 and the quality is great. Yeah,
Oh,
Mama
yeah.
Styles, the S9 is wonderful. I'll be getting I'm a Note fan. I've been with the Note since it was a Note 2. I'll be getting I think my upgrade date is sometime near the end of the month. So I'll be upgrading either this month or next month. I almost don't want to give this one up right now. I'm like, but we're such good friends. We spend so much time together, and not on the phone. And I'm not like a social media person, but filming and doing stuff with it. I was like, oh, sadly, like this is the one that I learned to do all that on. So a little bit sentimental. I'm like, oh, now I have to switch you out because it's not the days where we keep them anymore. But anyway, enough about that. Am I sentimental? Razor says I gotta go because I am rendering a video in Adobe and it's maxing out my RAM on my PC. It's freaking out. I'm sure MFN Production knows what I'm talking about.
Yes, I know.
Actually, I actually do know what you're talking about. I don't know how to do it, but I do know what rendering is, and I do know about maxing out RAM, so I do understand that statement. I get it. I just don't know how to do it all yet. And I'm sure there's things that I've never even heard of too. But good luck with that.
You will get there.
Yeah, good luck with that, Razor. And yeah, you want things rendered properly, and you do need a lot of memory to do that. So enjoy. All right, so moving on. And if you guys have any more questions or anything else along the lines of things that I've been asking, I know Julie needs a new camera and whatnot. Feel free to ask it. Please do. And Gemma, I know you film with the cell phone and stuff like that. Lady Borgia, have you seen me? Sweetie, yes, I said hello to you in the beginning. That's why I'm asking a lot of cell phone questions and other questions like that, because I know a lot of you guys film with that. And I do a lot of the time, especially when I'm going to be doing my New York vlogs and whatnot, just because it's small and it's lightweight. And I even bought my latest backpack because it was fashionable and had a padded text section. So go figure, designer and pretty, and you know, it holds my stuff. Anyway, moving on. So tell us about the documentary you've been talking about.
The documentary.
Yes, the big documentary. Yes.
He's actually already, can believe that, past already 5 years that I was involved in the documentary, and it was that 5 years when I start editing properly, because I had to. because when we were involved in that documentary, we were splitting the jobs between the ones that they were involved. And if we were asking someone to edit the documentary, it would cost a lot of money, because we got the funding to produce the documentary, but not enough, of course, for editing, because to edit everything, basically it was kind of £5,000 to edit all that. Yeah, professionally, 5,000, like even going the lowest.
Wow. So you had all the money for pre-production and production, but not for post-production.
Not post-production, because when we got the funding, we used the Kickstarter that is used a lot in America.
Right.
So in that year, it was actually released in UK, and we used it was in that year, in 2013, I believe, when Kickstarter was launched in UK, and we just got the funding. One of my friends, he was with a story about a really famous bridge in Scotland, that is Overton Bridge. If you guys Google it, you will see Overton Bridge. You will see plenty of stories about dog suicide. Dogs, they were jumping from that bridge.
Yes, this is the title, guys. I really was not faking it, or I don't do clickbait for real. If you go into Mario's page, you can actually see the documentary. Go ahead, Mario.
And yeah, so my friend just came up with that story, because we were friends already for a long time, and when we were kids, it was one of the persons that we were all the time just creating videos, amateur films, amateur like stuff.
Oh, that's so much fun to have a friend like that. That's awesome.
So
I would have loved that.
So that basically just starts from that point. He told me about the story, and he just came to me, Mario, I would like to do a video, to do this documentary film with you, because I was working with you before, but in that time we were kids. Now we are adults, and we need to do something serious, something that we want to do something
you want to put your name on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, and I was doing a research about the dog suicide. Someone was doing a small documentary that was like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. That was from BBC. BBC. Yeah, BBC. It was BBC. Yeah, it was BBC.
Right.
And it was nothing like I could say that was explaining massively about the dog suicide, about that bridge. So we just decided just to go ahead to request the funding using the Kickstarter, and we got the funding.
That's amazing, because that was amazing. When you first told me about this bridge with the dog suicides, I went, what? Holy cow. And I remember looking into it, and that's definitely something that's pretty wild. Go ahead. You got the funding.
We got the funding, and after that, we just start. Well, before we went to the location, and we were just studying the place. We were talking with the people from the palace. Well, that small mansion, I would say.
Right.
That they live there, and they were aware about the story about the dog suicide. And after, when we got the funding, we just went there. We got the permission to film inside that big mansion, and
wow,
that was a really good opportunity.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, that's it. For your first start, that's, to make a documentary, it's beautiful, and the grounds around it and everything, it's incredible.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a really nice story that I totally recommend for you guys to watch. It's still difficult to explain why they were doing that, why the dogs they were doing that, but at least it's not just all about the dog suicide, because sometimes some people, they will be thinking that is all about like it's something tragic, but that has like a good thing as well, a good story as well in the middle.
Oh yeah, definitely, guys. Overton, if you go onto Mario's channel and you scroll down a bit, I put it into the chat box, and I'll be putting it in a few more times. It's not just about dogs jumping off the bridge and people thinking that dogs were committing suicide. It's so much more than that. That's a small portion, and it goes on to tell much more, and there's a fantastic story behind it. So it's not just potential dog suicide, which technically there is no such thing, but it was part of the story of this property that had a lot more stories to it. Wouldn't you say, Mario?
The what? Sorry, can you repeat?
I said there's so many more stories to this mansion and property than
Oh
to
yeah,
just the
definitely.
bridge. There's so much
Yeah,
more to it.
yeah, because the 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 people that they are living in that mansion, they is one of the reverends, and he's from America. He's American. Well, actually, the family, they are American, um, and they just bring so much peace when you are talking with them, and what they were doing there as well in that mansion, uh, to help, uh, like to with sorry, I had a blank on my brain.
Honey, that
I
happens
just need
to
some.
me
I just need some
all.
water.
Yeah, that's
No.
okay. Go ahead. It happens to me all the time, and I call it live brain stalls. So no worries.
Ah, I do apologize.
Oh, honey, it's fine. I do it all the time, and I really do. I call it live brain stalls because it's stuff that I don't do in real life, and then all of a sudden, boom. WrestleMania says, "Oh, interesting. WrestleMania. My degree is in television production. I had to unlearn so-called proper editing and shot setup to integrate into YouTube style. Did MFN Productions find that as well?" He said he's now merging the two styles and starting to make my own style. That's interesting. Did you find that, Mario, or did you learn, I guess, proper filming and editing like WrestleMania is talking about, or did you just teach yourself,
I
or
just teach myself. I was basically all the time like looking tutorials on YouTube, um, and it was the way I learned. But as well, I was exploring. I was spending hours looking. Like I was opening the software, and I was just grabbing like the videos into it, and I was just doing, okay, let me just cut right there, let me just add this plugin, let me just do some color editing, and I was just improvising. I was just learning in the same way. When I didn't know how to do the things properly, I was just Googling, or I was just going to YouTube, and I could just watch how to do this properly.
yeah,
And I
that's
learned, and after I was just learning on my own other things that they were not even on YouTube in that time. So
okay. Then all right, then you didn't have to do the two things. That's interesting, WrestleMania. I would actually love to hear. You still need to come on sometime, and I'd love to ask you questions about that. I did not know that you had a degree in television production. That would be fascinating to hear about the two different styles sometime. So I am learning like Mario, just kind of going along and playing with programs and filming and seeing what does this do? What happens if I do that? Watching YouTube videos, reading things. When I first started doing anything, and we'll go back to your documentary in a second, one of the first things I did before I went onto YouTube was read a ton of articles about editing software. and what was suggested, why was it recommended, just all kinds of stuff. I have a whole bookmarked thing for that, and what was good for beginners, so on and so forth. I mean, I really do want to get Adobe Premiere eventually and learn how to use it well, but I know that takes quite some time and whatnot. But that would really be interesting to see the difference between what he says is, professional proper editing and amateur and more YouTube style, which obviously you can tell from watching there is a major difference. In fact, on YouTube, I've noticed people actually want to see you do they don't want everything proper. They seem to prefer it if they get to see, your missteps and bloopers and whatnot. They seem to like it integrated and funny editing things and whatnot. And they seem to like that a lot more than everything else. But anyway, back to Mario's documentary. So you said you went ahead and you had the funding, and you said you did Kickstarter to get the funding for the editing, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Just first of all, I'm so sorry, like for like those probably they are making questions right now, and sometimes I just I lost myself a little bit when I'm talking, and I can see all the messages, and when I'm talking, sometimes I'm not typing in the same time to reply everyone, so I do apologize. It's something that I need to improvise with myself. Is when I'm talking, I need to be looking and reading and in the same time typing, but I just get completely messed up.
Oh, don't worry about it. They
I
don't
do
expect you to
apologize.
answer right that minute. My audience knows that we'll get to their questions. Sometimes while we're talking, we'll finish what we're saying and then we'll go back to them. I kind of view it as a big circle. There where we're
Yeah,
talking, we go to the audience and then we come back again. Oh, Hazel, that's okay. I know you've been very busy. Yeah, it's a lot to try to do all at once. So sometimes I let the questions run a little bit and then we can go back around and get to them. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Um,
yeah.
so
So coming back then to the funding,
mm,
yeah. So after I just got the funding and we just went ahead to start filming. We just got the dates to start shooting the
so this is you
documentary.
you were an amateur when you started this, correct?
Well, I can say that I was kind of an amateur, yeah, of like doing something behind, well, professionally behind the camera, because all the rest was all sometimes just made by fun. So that was the first professional work that I was like involved, yeah. So
Wow, that's really
because
cool.
the other works that it was not me that was creating, it was someone else that they were creating, and I was involved as an assistant, or I was acting.
So
um,
so this was
so
the big first one where you and your friend were producing
oh
and
yeah,
filming and doing the whole nine. Did you
oh yeah.
have I know both you and your friend were producing it and filming it. Did you have PAs or other people did you have it in the budget to have people to help you out?
Yes, we had uh, two guys that they were responsible for the sound. So
Great.
when we were doing the interviews, it was always someone like as a proper guy that holds the gun with the sound, like just to capture all the sound.
Right. Yeah, the sound
So
boom.
we were, yeah, the sound boom, and yeah, we were with two guys. Well, three guys on the beginning, but one of them he after quit. Um, I don't know why. He was quite difficult to understand sometimes, and he suddenly on the second, I think it was on the second or on the third day, he just didn't appeared. So we were just with one person less. So we just had to
Ooh,
figure out how to do it. But the good thing is that my other friend, that it was the one that wrote the documentary, kind of,
right.
that came up with all the story, he was studying sound engineering, so he could do what the other one was doing. So that, but it was really difficult because he was responsible for the interviews, interviewing people, but as well he needed to do some of the sounding. Oh, that was
Wow,
difficult.
that's a lot at once, and that's I just know from something simple like doing live streams and whatnot, and like we were just talking about when you're talking and you're interviewing and you're answering things, and then you're reading the chat and you're responding to the chat and you're typing, and that's maybe an eighth of what your friend had to do with sound
Oh
engineering
yeah.
and talking, but I kind of equate it to something like that because I tell people when I'm doing something like this and I'm typing and answering the chat, reading it, listening to my guests, and answering questions, I'm wearing about 8 different hats at once. But it's just what the medium calls for. And like you said, sometimes your brain can just stop because you're like, whoa, overload. But I can only imagine because this is, like I said, like an eighth of that, of sound engineering, doing the sound, whatnot, and doing the interviews and whatnot. That's wow. That is a lot. That's
It
I
was
didn't
too
know that
much.
when
Yeah.
watch. Well, you can't tell by watching it. It's
No, you can't.
incredible.
You can't, because not like even people can't realize how long it took us to actually edit. Uh, that took definitely 7 months. That it was how took to actually put all together in just 46 minutes. That is how long is a documentary. It's a lot of things involved, and like small details, and that sometimes they need to be changed, like few things, that the colorizing, like the color grading, because was not used any filters, it was all handmade, and created just all the colors just to make them all the way we wanted, to give like
Right.
a small, not a cinematic style, because a documentary is not, I wouldn't say that is a cinematic, wouldn't be would be a little bit weird, like a cinematic style in a documentary.
Right. But to get the right feel to it and everything,
Yeah.
you want it because the colors can change things,
Oh yeah, definitely.
drastically. That
Definitely.
can change a whole feel to everything. Just the way music changes the feel and what music you add to it and the way things look. And it's just there's a tremendous amount, even as an amateur, that I know. I grew up in Southern California where there actually a lot of people who worked in the movie industries and television industry lived. So I grew up listening to people talking about this and whatnot. So I do have a little bit that filtered in from, just being around it as a child. Wrestler Mania says, wow, interviewing and trying to watch and control the sound levels must have been nuts. He said he had to do done
Oh
more than
yes.
post-production than needed. I feel for him. Yeah, I do too, because albeit I don't know how to do it, I have a really good idea of how difficult that was. That's
It was difficult.
wow.
It was really difficult, definitely.
That's
Um,
incredible.
but well, we make it. With after a few months, we did it,
You
and
guys
the
really
good
did.
and the good thing that after when we completed, we were just sending the documentary for different festivals, and we got accepted in one to, not in a festival, but to do a premiere in Glasgow. So basically, it was, we had one room, like a cinema room, just for
Uh,
us to shoot the documentary and for everyone to be watching. So we just invite a lot of people from the village, and friends, family, and to go there for free. So
oh, that is so much fun. You get to have a real premiere and
oh yeah,
everything. That is awesome.
it was
That
good.
is it's absolutely fantastic. You guys, I'm gonna type it in again and we're gonna continue to talk about it. Um but you need to definitely go. In fact, I will put the link for it. Like I said, I was having some technical issues earlier and had to quickly recreate the event. And that was one of the things I had in here was a link to the documentary Overton, which when I originally watched it, when I think it wasn't too long after I met Mario on YouTube. I was floored. It's fantastic. It's a wonderful documentary, and honestly, it's something I would think that I would see on television. It's really well done. Michelle, I'm glad that you're still here and that you're lurking. We actually also, and I have to say thank you to everybody who listens on the replay, as we have many audience members that do that, who live in different time zones. And by the way, Mario is in Scotland. So he is 5 hours ahead of us in New York, which let's
It's
see
1 o'clock now.
Yeah, I was going to say
1 a.m.
it's 1 a.m. for him. So we really appreciate the fact that he stayed up for this. And in the future, I will be having some shows during the day. I'm working out the time zones for that because I have quite a few people in Eurasia that would like to be able to watch the show live and who would like to be on. And I have to say, I have to give it to Mario and to Wonder Music, because Wonder Music is in Latvia. He was our second show, which you've worked with Wonder Music, haven't you, Mario?
We are going to do some collab.
Yeah. And he we were talking pretty frequently until he got busy with family during the summer, but he has 4 beautiful little girls, so that's a lot. But he was our second show ever. He came on at 2 in the morning. So there's people who want to come on. A wonderful girl wants to come on. She just made her own clothing line and whatnot. So I will be figuring out when to do some shows during the day so we can have I have a lady in Dubai, a few others, and to make it a little easier. So for Mario and Wonder Music, I had to say thank you so much. We'll continue talking about this, but we had to give them a big thank you because he has stayed up for this and made room during his holiday for us. So I really, really appreciate that.
Very welcome. My pleasure.
And we're also not going to keep him too late tonight because it is his vacation, it's his holiday. So we really do appreciate this. And everybody I know who listens in their cars and at work and whatnot, it still absolutely floors me that you guys turn on this show and listen to it while you're working or you're driving, when you can't comment, but you still listen. I think that's, phenomenal. Thank you so much, guys. Anyway, back to Overton. What was it like when you started filming? What did you actually, because this is one thing a lot of people may not realize. When you film something, a movie, a documentary, you don't film in an order usually. And oh, actually, hold on one second. WrestleMania says, loved Scotland. Yeah, I want to go there so much. I was based in England when I was in the Air Force. Took the train to Scotland many times. Beautiful scenery. Thanks for coming by and speaking to us. Oh, and he's going to tell you about something fantastic that he saw this weekend as well.
You're very welcome.
I cannot wait until he puts it up and edits it. You guys really have to keep an eye on MFN Productions channel. He's got some really cool things coming, and this documentary we're talking about, Overton, you really have to watch it. But anyway, going back to it, a lot of people don't realize that you don't film in order usually. What did you start? What was the first thing that you filmed with Overton?
The first thing that we filmed with Overton, it was basically the landscapes. We were filming like the landscapes when we just arrived to the place. It was actually a beautiful day, and we just start filming around just to get some footage. And we were like very close from the bridge, and suddenly just came like some people walking towards the mansion. And we just approached the person and was like, we are doing a documentary about the bridge, blah 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 blah. Do you want to be part of it? And the guy said, oh yeah, sure, let's go ahead. And after that, it
Oh,
was like
wow.
people after people that they were walking because they could see that we were filming, and they were making questions. What are you guys doing? And we were explaining, well, we are doing a documentary about this bridge because of what did happen here so many years ago. And people were starting, oh, I know about that story. And you know, everything
Just
was getting on the camera, and we were just getting, okay, just come to this place and let's do a proper scene, let's talk about that. And we were
wow.
doing a scene. So sometimes we could be outside, after we could be just filming the landscape inside the house. So it was not in order, we were just getting all the footage that we needed. So
That's incredible. Just briefly, not the whole thing. Could you tell my audience what briefly the story about Overton is?
what it is,
The story, the old story about it, that drew you to it in the first place.
the story is all about, well, uh, its majority is about dogs suicide, that in the 50s, 1950s, the dogs, they were jumping from that bridge, and people couldn't explain why that was happening,
Right. And it
and
was this
why
very
dogs were.
gothic bridge. It was very, kind of
Oh yeah.
not spooky looking, but in the documentary, it's described as a very gothic bridge.
Yes. And in the time when that was happening, on the very, like, just on the side of the bridge, it was a really big tree, and that big tree, the dogs, that what people were saying, that was minks just on the tree, and squirrels,
Right.
and they were just smelling, and they were just approaching, and they wanted to catch them because the squirrels, they were all the time just up and down on the trees, and they just wanted to get them. And basically they were falling because they were not realizing that actually it was a really big fall.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to understand why the dogs, they were doing that, because dogs, they have a really big perception. um,
Right.
so yeah, so that was basically about all the dog suicide, and it was like, wow, how that can be possible. I don't believe that, until we went to the local library, and we were digging inside, well, digging, like just searching inside
Right. No,
the
no, yeah,
the library.
that's gonna be
and
incredible.
and we were just looking into the really old newspapers from that time, 1950s, that was
Wow.
when actually did happen, and we start believing, okay, this is real, this was happening. This is actually a newspaper from 1952, something like that.
Yeah. Didn't they say there was something like 60 dogs that jumped or
16, over 60 dogs.
wow. And I know there was some question if it was a ghost, the lady, was it Lady of the Lake or Lady of the White Lady,
The
was
white
it?
lady,
The
the
White
white,
Lady.
the white lady that that was involved with the house next to the bridge, because uh, that lady was tormented by things that happen in that house, because that house, it was a maternity hospital before.
Yes.
So many things was happening in that house, for what I heard. um,
Oh yeah.
and so it's some of the things, they are quite heavy, that we didn't want to put it on the documentary, or even to talk about that, because that could be a little bit shocking as well.
Oh,
So
interesting. So there were
yeah.
certain things that you didn't. Well, that makes sense because it's a fantastic documentary. But I can see where if there were things that got even heavier, that yeah, it can draw it in a certain direction that could be too much.
Oh yeah.
So that's very interesting. What was I thought the part about the white lady that I like the story about the white lady supposedly being a prank from the boy's birthday or something like that. They were hanging out around there. I don't know, there's so much to that that is a rich story, and then now you tell me there's even more that I'm going to have to look and see.
It's like some of the things probably people will not find on internet, because that it was what we were reading on the newspaper, like old newspapers that actually was happening in that place. But we didn't want to put it on because it was some people involved, and even with some of the people that we were interviewing, we had to cut few parts because it was a little bit more personal of things that actually were happening, and they actually seen that happen.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and that was quite bad, because one of the things that we were talking as well on the documentary, and is that was kind of like wait, sorry,
It's okay.
something is vibrating here. I lost myself.
It's okay. It's like what happened right before we went on. Both of our phones went off at the same time, and we're both looking around what's going.
Yeah.
You were talking about how some of it was personal information and got somewhat heavy while you were making the documentary, so you chose not to include it.
Yeah, because
Go
one of
ahead.
the things that we actually mentioned on the documentary is that when a father just threw his born baby from the bridge, saying that he was I can't remember what he was saying.
Oh, there was a part that was included that supposedly there was a man that thought his child was supposedly he threw the baby from the
The
bridge.
Antichrist. He was something like saying that was I
Right.
can't remember what he said.
Yeah,
It
something
was
about
so
him
many
being the
things.
he was yeah, like the Antichrist or
Yeah.
something. I can't think of the word I want to say for it, but yeah, that's what happens when you're little and you learn too many languages at once. Oh, S2W themes. He said he'll have to catch the replay. Angel, how are you? She's in here. Stephanie. Um, yeah, S2W themes. Also, I was talking about him earlier. Enzo, he's just made it in. He used to work on the Cosby Show. He's the one I was talking about. He just got a certification to work backstage on Broadway and other things. I'm gonna have to write down the title of it and put it here because he's told me enough times, and it is my own fault. For some reason, my brain cannot remember the exact title of it. But he is also a filmmaker, and you guys actually would probably have a lot of fun chatting with each other. And whatnot. Oh, Angel, yes, the kitty is there.
What is he is I wait here. There he is.
There he is.
The tiger.
Oh, he's so
Here, the
handsome.
tiger. The tiger.
Oh, wow, he is beautiful. I
It's
saw him
big.
from.
He's sleepy.
I love big cats. I have a big male cat, but oh my gosh, he's gorgeous. Now my cat's gonna be jealous of me. Why are you talking about another cat? He's like that. Anyway, just to catch you guys up, yeah, we were talking about the documentary, and it was also the first big project that Mario did with a childhood friend. Yes, a mini tiger. He
Mini
definitely
tiger.
is. I love tigers, and that is a beautiful cat. And we're talking about different parts of the documentary and how people ended up coming up and wanting to talk. Other than the two sound people, did you have any other crew, or was that the extent of your crew?
For the documentary, or you mean the other projects?
For the documentary.
It was just we were just a group of, well, it was me. We were 8, I would say 8, and we all the rest, it was just people that they were helping. But the crew basically that was more involved into the documentary, we were 8, but we just got a lot of. We had 2 executive producers, one from California and one from Las Vegas. Yeah, that was helping the sorry.
It's okay. They were helping with the funding, yes?
The funding, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's usually what executive producers would do with the funding and making sure that everything is staying on budget and whatnot, because often they have a hand in it somehow and do not want to lose money. What was your favorite part of filming Overton?
I think so. One of my favorite parts is the beginning of the film, is the beginning of the documentary, is when it starts from the day through the night, because we went up to the hill. It was a big adventure. We were walking into the hill. It was quite difficult to get there. And we start filming and trying to do a time lapse, because the camera was recording all the time, because we wanted to do a time lapse, but after we didn't put a time lapse. So it was a beautiful view from the top. It was a really nice, actually, night, very warm. But the problem is, it was when it went night, because if you guys see the beginning, it goes through the day to the night. When we stopped filming, we was just like looking to each other, and now how we will go down, because it's totally dark and we will not see anything. The only thing that we were in that moment was just the phone, that could be just a torch, using as a torch. And I just fall from the hill with the cameras on my hand. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I did hurt myself. I didn't broke the camera. But
oh, that's most importantly, you didn't hurt yourself, but yeah, it also hurt the camera. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, so but it was quite cool. Yeah, it was one of the most interesting parts of the documentary for myself, to be honest.
Yeah. S2W team says, well, first off, Angel says MFN is lucky I don't live out there. I'd be knocking at his door. S2W themes, he says, I love the pressures you have on documentary films. S2W themes, how many documentaries have you filmed? I'm going to have you back on again. S2W themes, I believe, was episode 7, and he has some really interesting stories and many more. In fact, we've got some collaborations we have going on that I cannot yet say what they are, but they're fairly big things to take on. When you started editing, and a 7-month period for someone that hadn't done something of this size, how do you decide where to start?
Good question, actually. It's difficult to know sometimes where to start, because you have started having so many ideas in the same time that you want to grab. Okay, this it will fit in the middle. This it will fit more like in the end. So basically, you will do per parts. You start splitting and you start joining, like blending, like every single scene that you already choose, and you are start putting like all over. Because I remembered my final cut in that moment. It was a lot of things spread out for everywhere. It was a really big mess because after it took a while to put all together, just grabbing from the end to the beginning. The ones that they were on the beginning, they needed to go into the middle. So, oof.
Right.
But we start the first thing that we start definitely it was the one that we needed to do the time lapse. That was the from the day through the night. It
Right.
was when I start editing. All the rest was just for parts, to be honest.
Did you end up, I know you said your partner wrote it. Did you end up with any scenes in the documentary that were unwritten just because you came across great footage or great people or any of the above?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Because when we were filming the documentary, it was all more about the dog suicide, the
Right,
dog suicide bridge. But we didn't realize that was more than that about that house, and that it was what we when we start getting all the information about what the reverend was doing there, because he was building small rooms
right,
in that house, that he wanted to give place for young mothers. They were they were giving birth,
right.
but they were without any sorry.
Oh, that's okay. This is the
Getting
chloroseptic show. I have gone through this whole bottle doing use stories, so please, everyone is used to that, believe me. Oh, S2W theme says, enjoying the live you have with MFN, totally into filmmaking combo. Yes,
Oh yeah,
it's
definitely.
fantastic.
Oh yes. Yeah, so yeah, he basically just came up about that he was building some rooms in the house to give place to young mothers that they didn't have a place to go after they giving birth,
Right.
because sometimes could be, you know, um, young mothers that they were probably or with some issues with drugs, or that kind of thing, that sometimes they are quite difficult, especially for a young mother that is giving birth and they don't have a place to go. And
Yeah.
what sometimes probably can happen is they will take the kids from them, but that would be really bad, to be honest.
Oh,
um,
absolutely. That was something I had to say there was a lot of parts that I didn't expect as I watched it that unfolded that were very interesting and there's the scenes with the reverend and creating a place for the young mothers to stay and go for after the birth. And I'm not going to give away all the different scenes so you guys can watch it, but it really was so many different things, and I didn't realize there was so much that you found after you started doing it. That's really interesting.
oh yeah, because we we didn't imagine actually that was happening there. We were just like for one story, and basically we end up like with two stories. It was not just about the dog suicide,
Right.
um, because after when we finished because we don't talk much about that, because it was something that he was basically start and planning, and he was, because even the rooms that we were building, they were sponsored by churches in America, in some of the states,
Oh,
that will be mentioned. They are mentioned on the film, on documentary film.
right.
um, and it's something that I have in mind, to create a second documentary about Overton, but not about the dog suicide. Yeah, but yes, about what he is doing for that young mothers.
That would
So
be really phenomenal because I would definitely love to see more about that. it's just a really phenomenal and interesting place that seems to have a very rich history and a continuing story
Oh
that,
yeah, definitely.
you know, would be really interesting to hear more about. So definitely you guys, you had to check it out. I'll ask a few more questions about it, and then I'm going to talk some about what he's done recently, and then we'll let him go in a bit because it is one past 1:32 in the morning his time.
It's okay.
So for a documentary like that, like you said, two executive producers, so basically so including you two and Enzo, the one thing you didn't hear about, and you'll hear if you go back, is they had, what did you say, 3 soundmen and then 1 dropped off. So his partner in this had been in sound engineering, and he had to step in and do sound engineering and the interviews and everything all at one time. I know Enzo will appreciate that. Angel says, where do we go to see the movie? It is on MFN's page. In fact, I'm going to go right now and get you guys the link. Unfortunately, I was putting it in and I had technical difficulties. So it's just been one of those days. Hold on one second. If I scroll down, I know it's right over here. No, that's, hold on. Here it is. There's also an aerial view. It's that's a short film. Let me put in the, hold on one second, guys. Of course, it's going to take a second to pop up. There we go. And there's the link. Let me grab it for you. And I will put it in there. You guys know, normally I have my description boxes filled with information. So here we go. And that is, let me put it, Overton documentary. Okay, there we go. There's the link for it, and I'll put it in after the show. I was promoting it a while back, and then I have again recently, and then like I said, I had technical difficulties today. So if you guys click on that, there we go. Yeah, I can see. Where Mario and I, we did not warm up. What do they do? That red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. That's okay. That's why I always tell people it's a casual chat interview. It's not formal. Um, because if it was, we would be in trouble. Yeah, it's about 45 minutes long, Angel. It is absolutely fantastic. So for a working crew of about 6, including the people, you know, including doing the interviews and whatnot, because I don't really include executive producers as like on-site working
Oh
as
yeah,
much.
definitely.
What you guys had said, so what equipment did you use?
I used, well, the camera was my camera.
Mm-hmm.
That I got the camera 3 months before the documentary start. So yeah, and the sound equipment, it was
What
bought by
camera?
the,
I'm sorry, what camera was that you have now? Just for people watching.
well, the camera, it was a Sony. It was a Sony VG20 in that time. It was a
Okay.
good, it was a good camera that I could exchange the lenses. So that was the one that I was using for my documentary.
Uh-huh.
And after, but I don't have that camera anymore because now I start using, I start filming with DSLRs because I prefer, because it's much better, the quality, in my opinion,
Oh, okay.
um, as a filmmaker, to work with a DSLR. That
What is a DCLR?
is a normal camera, digital.
Oh, DSLR. Okay.
Yes,
No. Okay. A DSLR. Okay. I was just hearing it
so
wrong.
that
Okay.
is
Gotcha.
my camera now. So that is what I do, my videos.
Okay, got you. So you used a DSLR,
Yeah,
but you
sorry,
said
sorry, my English.
you're fine. Okay, so you did. Oh, okay. So now you got a Canon. Yeah, I really like Canons. That's what I'm waiting to get is a Canon DSLR.
Yeah, this one I just got it because I was with a Canon 5D Mark III,
mhm,
and I got the 5D Mark IV 3 months ago because the other one I just needed to change because of like filming in a 4K, and it was like few other things that it was on this one that the other one didn't have. That's the
right.
reason why I choose and the quality. It's stunning. Filming in a DCLR. Some people prefer probably to use a professional camera
Mhm.
to do the filming, but a lot of filmmakers nowadays they are using the DCLRs to do some video.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've looked at even the lower end Canons, like the Canon. What is it? TI6 or T6. That are the $400 or $500 range, and they see that those actually are very nice cameras for a starter camera. What do you think of those?
The starter camera, which one?
The Canon Rebel, like the T6,
Yes, there is a good camera. It's a good camera. Yeah,
because
definitely.
that's one of the ones that I'm thinking of getting because I don't
But
necessarily. Go ahead.
sorry interrupting you. But this little camera here is an amazing camera that gives you an amazing quality. And when someone looks, this is like, oh, this doesn't look professional. It looks amazing when actually you are filming and you get a really beautiful results because the quality is stunning. Can be used to do even a short film, to do vlogs, um, plenty of nice stuff. And it's just small. You can keep it in a pocket, and
Right.
it delivers amazing quality. Trust me. And
That's
and it's not expensive.
Huh, I'm gonna have to put down the different cameras that you showed, that one and the other one that you showed, so I can put it in the description box for other people watching because I know people are gonna want to look into those. S2W themes, he says executive producers can be a pain, so it's best when they're not on set. Yeah, that's why I asked. I do know about that. He says he S2W themes Enzo. He says he also agrees he loves filming with the DSLR. And that's great to hear that they are good for that because I definitely want to get a new one. Like I said, I have a lot of film versions of them, obviously not digital, the SLRs, but WrestleMania says hello, and let's see, lots of the bigger YouTubers use the G7. Is that a Canon? I don't know. I
Which
was
one?
just he said the G7
The
WrestleMania.
G7. Yeah, this one here is the G7X. Is the small camera that I was talking about.
Oh,
That is the
okay.
one that is used for most of the vloggers, PewDiePie, Logan
Okay.
Paul. So because you can use while you are filming, you can see basically yourself.
Right. See, I use this and it's not in this room, but I have this and a little handheld rig, and I'm like it works for me. So I don't know, but I could see how yeah, that's really nice. Is it would it be worth it to get a vlogging camera like that if you can do most of that on your phone, like with a Note 9 or a Note 8 like I have?
Well, the phone it depends what you want to do with the like with the videos,
Mm,
um, because a lot of vloggers, for example, they use the phone. They don't use like a DCLR or even a compact camera like this one. They use the phone and they get amazing footage. But I have my phone, and I like to do some footage. Like, for example, if for example I'm going somewhere and I didn't took the camera with me, I will just film that moment. But if I would have like the camera with me in that moment, I would prefer to use the camera instead of the phone, because it's not the same. The quality is not the same, in my opinion.
Okay. Let's see. Go ahead.
But the quality, it's great. The phones, it's definitely amazing. But I'm more like a camera person, like not using the phone for doing the footage, because if I would have the camera with me, definitely is first the camera, and last case it will be the phone.
Okay, so. No, fair enough. And I think everybody has their own opinion, and I always want to know. I love hearing people's opinions on things. That's why I asked. Yeah, it's S2W Themes. He said that's a nice camera, and he says I agree. MFN Productions, and he also says now cell phones can capture DSLR quality. Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The Note 8, it says it can. I know Enzo has the same phone as I do, and in fact, Enzo and I, S2W Themes, have, I think, right about the same upgrade date. So, which is
they are great footage, definitely. What you can take, especially the Samsungs. As I said, I'm an Apple person, but I can say that actually the Samsungs, for me, impressed me much more than actually the iPhone in terms of like doing like a proper footage, like doing because I have this one is an S7, Samsung S7, and it's stunning.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Please finish.
That one of the videos that I was filming for my YouTube channel, that was with my cat. That my cat is a YouTuber.
Yes.
Part of the video was filmed with this phone. The other part, it was filmed with my Canon. So, and that has an amazing quality. This small thing, this small phone.
Yeah, it is absolutely amazing. S2W's Themes, he agrees with you that in the end, he says nothing beats a camera. WrestlerMania says some vloggers use cameras to be able to use the 120 FPS to get cleaner and better slow motion effects. Okay, that's interesting to know. I don't do a lot of slow-mo, but who knows? In the future, I might, because we know that I'm constantly having new ideas and have to slow myself down, because I finally made a big binder and told myself no more new projects, because I keep coming up with more and more and more. The more I find out about filming things and doing things, the more things I want to do. So I had to kind of like, whoa, pull the reins in, girl. Just not too many at one time. But I definitely, yeah, I can see how nothing beats a camera.
Oh yeah, definitely. But he is right about this 120 frames per second, because my camera, this Canon, has the 120 frames per second. It's amazing. I was filming 2 weeks ago my cat, like Leo. He was jumping. I was using the feather, and I was filming. I was just keeping the camera, just focusing into him, and that in a slow motion was just really smooth and amazing, because the way he was jumping, you could see the cat like just completely stretching and just landing. It was amazing. I didn't put that footage on my channel. I have a lot of footage sometimes that I don't put on. I should probably, but
I have tons of footage that never makes it to YouTube. I film Like when you were saying about filming, so you have extra, I always have plenty of extra. That's why I had to pull myself back a little bit with that too, because it would take me for if I filmed absolutely everything I think of filming, I would never get editing done. So I've had to learn to pull myself back a little bit. And I don't always keep all the footage either, because in the amount of time that I've been on, which has only been since February, and I haven't even filmed everything I wanted to film in that time period that I had planned, I've already filled up a ridiculous amount of space. So I've erased some of the old footage and stuff like that, because I don't know how people, some people say they keep all the footage they've ever filmed. I can't do that. Have you done that, Mario?
Oh, the which footage?
Like just for YouTube and stuff like that, or do you get rid of it when you're done?
No, I keep almost everything.
Do you?
Yeah,
I've been
I keep almost
erasing it.
everything unless it's something that probably doesn't make sense. But a lot of the footage that I do, I just keep it because I have in my house I have around, I have one, two, three, I have 6 hard drives. Most of them, they are 4 terabytes each, and a
Wow.
lot of stuff with on it. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah, I
footage that
have.
I still didn't edit, that I was filming in Portugal using the drone, that I still didn't put it on. But I have been with so much work. I have been doing some work for my clients, because MFN Productions is not just a channel, is my company as a
Right.
self-employed, because not just working for, because I work for Land Rover. I'm a photographer for Land Rover and a videographer for Land Rover, that I do the videos for the website, but as
Oh,
well,
wow, that's awesome.
yeah, but I work as well as a self-employed, that I named MFN Productions, and after I start this channel. So, and I
That's
have a lot
awesome.
of stuff sometimes to do. That's the reason why sometimes I miss a little bit YouTube to upload more often. But when I can, and soon I will be uploading more, because now I'm getting more time. So.
Now, I hear you on that. There's a lot of times I would like to upload more often, and I got it up to that I was uploading once a week, and then on Fridays. I had it where I was uploading Wednesdays, and but then I'm live twice a week, and then I got it back to okay after I was sick that I upload every Friday. And then I missed a week or two because then we had, what was it, like 4 or 5 birthdays in a week and a half. And then plus your personal life, your professional life, your own businesses, it can be difficult to keep up with it. So I hear you on that. I have a I S2W themes, he keeps it. I need to get more external hard drives. I have one external hard drives that it's a terabyte and it's full, and I need to get more. I've been erasing my excess footage. I've just been keeping the final cuts of things, and it's mostly just the tutorials and stuff. I take out what, the final cut of it, and then I erase everything else and I back up the final cut. But mostly tutorials. I don't know why I would need all of that for, I don't think I'd ever use it another time.
Mhm.
But for vlogging and some of the other stuff I would do, I could see where I would want to keep it. When you were talking about doing the slow motion with your cat, and you said you filmed with both cameras, I think, or was it your phone and your camera?
No. The slow motion was just with my camera, that I was just filming him like jumping, just to get
With
the
your
feather. It
vlogging
was
camera, the vlogging
no
camera,
no
or the
no. It was the
DSLR?
DCLR. Was just with the DCLR, because
Okay.
the vlogging camera doesn't shoot 120 frames per second.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask because I didn't think it did, but then I went, maybe I don't know. That's so I'm always a believer in questions. I didn't think it did. Would a camera like the Canon T6, the Rebel, do something like 120 frames per second or no?
No, not that one. Far as I know. Well, you can do the slow motion when you are editing, but it depends how many frames per second you are recording your footage.
Right.
I would say that if he is filming at 60 frames per second, it's really smooth. So it means that if you are editing your videos and you would like to make it like in a slow motion,
Right.
it will look soft if you manipulate the video to not look like with some breaks, because that sometimes can happen, is when someone is editing a video and is making in a slow motion. What can happen when you render the video is that it looks like it's like jumping, like
Right.
it doesn't look smooth, but is a way to turn that actually smoother, even if, yeah.
Really? Yeah, no, because I notice even with mine sometimes if the frames per second is down a little bit, I'll notice some jumps
Yeah.
in mine. But I'm also filming with my phone and uploading. Sometimes I'll film it at a higher resolution and rate, but then I'll lower it so I can upload faster.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when I notice yeah, S2W's name says, he says no, not on the Rebels. He agrees.
MFN,
And
what model number is the Canon? Which one, Angel? This probably DCLR? I don't know.
yeah, you know what? I'll have you afterwards, if you could put the information for the vlogging camera and your DSLR. If you could
Yeah,
email that to me, I can put it in the description box so when people come back to watch, I can just pop it in there. I'm not sure which one. I think, yeah, Angel, we'll put it in afterwards. I'll have him email me the information about both cameras. And then, yeah, the 5D Mark, what is it? 5, 6, 4. Why am I reading wrong? Yeah, Mark 4. Hello, where's my brain with Roman numerals? Let's see, the one that you can see yourself. I think you can see yourself with both of them.
is that no? Is
Oh,
the
oh, the
7
vlogging camera.
7 Mark II is a great camera. Yeah, for the vlogs. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
is really stable. The stabilization of this camera is just amazing, and the quality, as I said, I believe that, yeah, I have from yesterday. Just a second, I can show. It was filmed yesterday on the Enchanted Forest.
Yes, this is what I wanted to tell you guys about. Quickly, tell them about the Enchanted Forest.
The Enchanted Forest, it was an event that I was yesterday that I can show you guys. Right now, one picture, I don't know if it will be noticeable on the screen. Let's see. Yeah, I believe that can be seen. So this was one of the pictures that I took yesterday on the event. Enchanted Forest is a forest that is very close by where I live. That every single year they create a really magical place with a lot of
Oh,
lights that they are
wow.
projected to the trees, so that it looks really, like fantasy, I would say, because it's a lot of um, like all speakers all over that has like a really magical sound all over the forest that you can hear, like the birds, like I can explain. It's like, so it's just amazing.
That's
It's probably as well my brain, it's like after so many hours awake.
yeah, exactly. That's why I just wanted to get to the Enchanted Forest and then I'm gonna let you go because
No, that's fine. That's fine. It's not the one. It's a nice one here. I can show that the video that can be seen.
Yeah, and
I
guys,
believe.
I will put the information about both cameras, both his vlogging camera and his DSLR, in the description box tomorrow, so you can have them to look up. You're obviously free to rewatch the entire thing if you'd like to. And for anybody interested in filming and whatnot, I do suggest it. Mario's given some really interesting information. Wow. I want to go there so bad. He was telling me about this before we went on air. That is just magical.
It's really nice that the footage that was here. It's good, but the one when I was filming with this one here, oh, it's just stunning. That is just really, really, really good. I can't
Oh,
wait to put all together, um, and do at least, I would say, 7 minutes video. I would say 7, 8 minutes probably.
I I cannot wait to see that. I will be definitely looking forward to that. And when you put it up, I will put the link in the description box down here. So let me know when you put it up. Mario and I, we try to keep talking back and forth. Both of us are very busy, so he's a wonderful friend to have because he understands that if you don't answer it right away, you have not forgotten about him. And he does the same with me. I know he may not answer immediately, but I know he will answer. So we're staggered how we write back and forth, but it works out. I know he's always going to answer, and he knows that I'm going to answer as well. But if you guys have, yeah, definitely STW themes, watch the replay. If anybody has any questions, put her out there now because I'm going to be wrapping it up soon. We've been on the air for about 2 hours now. And yes, we all know that the lady can stand 4 to 6 hours. Angel and I will be doing our marathon, the Angel and Lady Borgia marathon at some point. But um, I do want to get him some sleep, and I don't want to stay up too late tonight because I've got some editing to do tomorrow. I'm going to be editing, I've got to film something, and I'm going to be editing my first special effects tutorial, which is going to be the first time I'm going to be using a lot of speeding up the film. So there's going to be a lot of playing with that, so it's not too fast, but not too slow, and it's going to be a lot of trial and error because that's the first like full length of a video that, what did that take me? I would say somewhere between probably about 5 or 6, between 4 and 6 hours, counting getting up and
Hmm.
walking around and whatnot because my back starts to hurt and stuff like that. But so that's probably the longest one I've done. I filmed them when I first started editing, but I ended.
Sorry, interrupting you.
Let's go
Uh,
ahead.
um, Only me can be seen right now on the. On,
Oh, I forgot to take it off of you. There we go. We really are both really intelligent people, but we're both. Thank you, Mario.
good. I was not doing anything strange.
No, I totally. I put the camera onto you when you were showing the enchanted forest, and normally I remember to take the camera off. Oh, that's the other thing for people who don't do this. You also, while you're interviewing, you are the cameraman, and you click it back and forth and whatnot. And so, thank you. Anyway, long story short, it will be my first endeavor because when I first started filming and editing, I filmed some of them and I ended up erasing them because I went, this is too much to start with. I'm gonna start smaller and work up. So that's gonna be my thing. Oh, Miss Kathy, you made it. We're unfortunately we're gonna be wrapping it up. WrestleMania is one of the,
Hello, Miss Cathy.
yes, one of the lesser expensive DSLRs with a flip screen that does native
It's a
120
good
frames,
one.
a Panasonic Lumix DMC FC 1000 4K. It does do 120 FPS at 1080. Oh, let me switch back a little bit. Hold on. Um, Not the best, but good. Well, I'm going to take a picture of that too. I do this when I'm on air all the time. Don't think I'm crazy, guys, but it's easier than
It's a good camera actually. The Panasonic. I know which one it is. It's not bad at all. It's not bad at
I'm,
all.
I'm going to have to look into that. Yeah, I take pictures of my screen when I see information because it's easier than digging back through the whole show. Not that I don't watch my replays and stuff like that to improve on things, but that's interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that. Miss Kathy just got home. Papa King, don't forget Lady. Oh, you made it, Papa King. Oh, honey, don't worry. I hit caps lock all the time. I am the worst typist on the face of the earth. You would never know that I play the piano or the guitar or the bass by the way I type. Um, no worries. But if you guys have any questions about anything else, get them at Broke Necks. Oh my goodness, look at you guys. What is up? Cheers from Alaska. Still at work though. Well, if you guys have any questions, get them out there. It is now 2 in the morning in Scotland, and
That's all right. I'm off. I'm off tomorrow, so what I need to do tomorrow is just some studies because I started today my second academic year. So
oh, and while we're talking about it, what are you studying?
I'm studying IT computing science.
How much longer do you have to go?
It's more 3 years.
Oh, okay. So you're getting a bachelor's in it?
Yeah. So
Very nice.
this year it will be more about web design.
Oh, nice.
The first year was programming, coding, all that. It was quite difficult, but anyways, what I need most for creating what is behind the web page. That is all the coding.
See, that is so cool. I would love to go back and well, I mean, I don't need to go back to university to get a degree in that to learn about it, but I would love to learn all of that stuff. I find all of that fascinating too. That's my problem. There's just too many things. I love
It's a lot.
filmmaking. I love that. It's a
It's
lot, but it's so cool.
it's a lot. Oh, hello, Mrs. Cathy. Thank you. Nice to see you too.
Oh, Miss Kathy, Angel and Enzo, have you chosen your costumes? She is referring to we are going to have another adult edition because the last one went over so well. And don't worry, guys, it's not filthy or anything like that. We wouldn't have that, but there is adult content, and this time it's going to be a costume party because it's around Halloween. Although it's going to be the week before because Halloween itself, you will not find me on YouTube. That's where I get to go out and I will be spending the day dressing people up and doing things and whatnot. And I love you all. I might stop in for a second, but I will not be home that night. As somebody who loves special effects, that is our night to play out in public without being looked at oddly. Not that we don't do it otherwise. Oh, I know what I was asking you, and I didn't get to finish. We were talking about the equipment you used for the documentary. You said you used DSLRs for the cameras. What else did you use?
It was not the DSLR for the documentary. It was the camera, the camcorder, basically. A professional camcorder that I was using in that time. The sound, it was borrowed by, it was the Edinburgh University, because it was, yeah, so some of the sound equipment, but the camera it was mine. So it was just only one camera, and it was 4, 5 of like the sound equipment.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was limited. It was limited because if we would had more than a camera, could be shooting on more different angles. But we were trying to do our best just to do part per part and just to put all together. But of course, when it's more than a camera, it's easier. But
right. Wrestler Mania says he wanted to know what are some more projects you're working on and when are you expecting to go live? He's very interested in seeing what you're going to be doing in the future.
Good question. That's true. Good question. Well, I was involved in a wedding just a few weeks ago that I'm working on. It's a big work, so it's a lot to edit. I have done the highlights and I uploaded that video on my YouTube channel about the highlights of that wedding.
Oh, that's the wedding that the last thing you put up? I was just
Yes.
watching today.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So, and it's few more stuff coming up. The one that I will be editing some point this week is the Enchanted Forest.
I'm so excited for that.
And other thing that I'm working on as well, but that will not be probably on the YouTube channel, because I'm writing a short film that I would like to produce. Don't know yet, but I don't know if it will be placed on a YouTube channel or not. I will be thinking about that, because it depends if I will be selling the short film. For sure it will not be on the YouTube, because after it will be someone need to do whatever they want with it. So
wow, that's really cool.
yeah, so
I can't wait for the Enchanted Forest, but now you're talking about a film, and I want to see that.
It's a short film that I have been doing the script already for a while. Is a fiction, so it's supposed to be lasting 25 minutes, but it will be a lot of money involved, because the way it will be made and what I have in mind, everything what I already wrote, it's a big work. It's definitely a big work. Yeah.
Really? How many characters?
It's supposed to be only three characters. Yeah.
Like 3 principals?
One.
Oh, one
Only
principal.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe another time I can talk about more about this documentary. Documentary about this short film, because I don't want to tell much about the story yet.
Gotcha.
So yeah, until I will actually set up and saying, okay, done, complete, and I'm going ahead with it. I have already a producer that is interested. So
fair enough then. Yeah, you don't want to tell too much right now then. Fair enough. Then we will definitely be looking forward to hearing about that. As you can tell more, and as you can tell more, I would love to have you back again to hear about it and tell everyone. Let's see. Good night, Broke Necks. They are, let's see, oh, they're talking of wrestler mania. I will make a homemade Patrick Star costume. People say I laugh like him. Sorry, guys, the tonsils.
okay.
Yeah, they're talking about the costume party, for which you are also welcome to join. That's on the 24th. That is the adult edition, and everybody's thinking up their costumes. We're probably going to have to rotate some people on and off, because I can only fit so many people with Hangouts, and I haven't switched over to Zoom yet, but it's going to be interesting. We're going to play silly games and whatnot, and they're talking about which costumes to be. I will probably come up with something that day, because God knows I'm queen of the costumes, and have enough paint and whatnot that I can make myself into just about anything I want sitting right here. So, but I am really looking forward to your film, and possibly having you come back and talk about it once you can talk more about it. I don't know if you guys.
It will take still some time, because that takes time, because like a project, a film, like of that dimension, it will take another level. It will be a different level that I will need to spread. I will need to be trying to sell to the right producer that will
Right.
actually will actually be interested for the story and he will pay for it. So that's the thing.
Right. Yeah.
So
That's a totally different level of, and that takes a while to do the pre-production, production, post-production, you know. That's what, a couple years right there,
oh
getting
yeah, definitely.
everything and the right person. So, but I will still be looking forward to it. And so that's wonderful. You guys are all, yeah, Papa King. Ooh, I love party games. Well, some of them might be a little bit salty, but you know, it's where everybody takes it. When I asked everybody the first time, do you want it adult rated or not, everybody raised. In fact, Miss Kathy was the first one, with everybody else going adult. So we're going to be doing adult again, the second only. So anybody who's under 18, sorry you can't come that night. But it is in all good taste, nothing terrible or anything else like that. Angel said, I need Mario's address in Scotland. Oh, you guys crack me up. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up here. And it has been a wonderful night. Mario, thank you so much for coming on.
It's okay. My
And
pleasure.
sharing everything. It has definitely been worth you coming, and thank you so much. For those of you who don't know, he agreed to come on when this was still just a concept, and here he is, and I always knew he would, so that is awesome.
Yeah,
I always
my pleasure. Yeah. So it was a great time that I had. I was trying to control my voice to not be too loud, because usually I like to talk and like more, and I'm trying to control the tone of voice, because it's already late and I'm living in a flat, and if not, my neighbor will boom 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 boom.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, definitely.
So
Well, you know what? In the future, like I said, I may be doing some daytime episodes, and we may be able to have you back then and whatnot. But oh my goodness, you've got the ladies going. Miss Kathy, and that accent too. Ooh la la.
oh
Well,
no.
you guys can listen to him on replay. Don't forget to go to his channel, which let's see, let's put it in here, and watch Overton. And um you know what, you also as well as a YouTube channel that is also his protection business. Is there anything else other than the well, you said the wedding we had to look for? Is there anywhere else other than YouTube that we can look for your productions?
At the moment, well, it will be on my website. I'm building my new website. Well, I have one that is www.mfnproductions.co.uk, but doesn't have much. What is basically there is what I have on my YouTube channel as well. But I will have some more stuff soon, because now I'm building my own, because I know already some I learned few things, because the studies is not just to go to, as usually people say, just walk with the books under their arms. It's actually to learn something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just doing something, and it will be placed probably until the end of this week. So I have been working on. So it's one of the
Okay.
things that I need to do as well, and during my holidays. Even is my holidays, but I'm always working on something. That's the thing. I never stop. Even
I
I
hear
need
that.
actually need I need a proper holidays, to be honest, and not even caring about anything. No work.
Yeah, I hear you with that. I try to do things where I take proper time off, but I'm not very good at it myself either. And we both had to do a self-imposed, you're not allowed you know, smack your hands to touch anything. Angel says, I love smart men. Oh my gosh. You guys are hysterical. All right. Thank you all for coming. We will look forward to your new things on YouTube. We'll be looking out for things on your website. And I am definitely super excited for the footage on the Enchanted Forest. Don't forget to go to his channel, check out his website for things upcoming and all the different things. In a couple of years, a film coming from MFN Productions. Thank you all. Thank you so much, Mario, for being with
You're very
us.
welcome. My pleasure.
All right,
Oh,
guys. Have a
thank you so
wonderful...
much for everyone that was here on this chat. I'm really sorry that I was probably not answering every single question that probably they were making. Sometimes I was just seeing when it was I could see that was my name on the ad, because usually it shows as a yellow. Oh, it's my brain as well. I'm tired. I'm awake since 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
So
it's all right, honey. They just enjoyed having you. All right, guys. Thank you so much for having, and thank you much, Mario, for coming.
thank you so much.
Love you all, Lady Borgia.